Greetings, Enlightened Ones. Thank you for joining your generic store brand Reverend today. In today's video, we're going to be going over how it's been now that I've finally entered into my 30s. We have a special guest below here, Mrs. Moo. I call her Moo because she looks kind of like a cow, kind of. She's an Oreo cookie. She's a tuxedo cat. One of these days, I'm going to do a separate video on her and how she's helped me through my life of turmoil. I've had her since 2013. Her name's Claudia, kind of like the little girl from Interview with the Vampire. That's why we actually kind of named her Claudia. It was actually from that movie. But one of these days, I'm going to do a video on her separately. For right now, you're probably not going to be able to see her much. She's going to be settling down in my lap here. She's annoying the shit out of me, even though she's been fed. Of course, like every typical cat, they just want to keep fucking eating and consuming. Sounds like most Americans. So yeah, my birthday was on March 16th, this previous Sunday that just had passed. I guess you can say, now that the fact that I'm in my 30s, it's kind of like a new chapter in my life. My dirty 30s, as they call it. All I have to say is I'm kind of thankful that I don't look like I'm 30 just yet, at least in my opinion. I always get opinions from others. I always ask people, I'm like, so what do you think I look like? And a lot of people think, just because of the way I carry myself and how goofy I am, a lot of people think I'm like 25 or 23, 24, around there. So I'll take that compliment. I don't think I'm quite that young, maybe 25, 26. But you know, I'll take the compliment. You know, the key to the fountain of youth, so to speak, is staying the fuck out of that sun. I mean, every goth pretty much does not stay in the sun, right? I don't know if I'd consider myself goth much these days, but I try to stay out of the sun as much as possible. I also try to moisturize my face, so every time I get out of the shower, I immediately, while my face is still kind of moistened, I like to get a lotion, like a not a lotion, but like a facial cleanser, moisturizer, whatever the fuck you want to call it. It's like made by L'Oreal, and so far it's actually done pretty good for me. It has sunscreen in it, so when I do have to, you know, go to work, I'm not necessarily in the sun. I do work underneath like a shed. It's like a automotive shed, and even when I was working with my previous crappy employer, I was always kind of working technically outside but inside, so the doors were always open. But anyways, oh, she's already wanting to, she's done. She's just had it. She wants to move. Yeah, she just wants to leave. I mean, her fur's getting all over my apron, my drape, the Holy One's drape. She's so cute. Oh. She's like, yeah, no, I'm done with this shit. Yeah, this cat puts up with so much shit, let me tell you. Like, you could literally just kiss the crap out of her, squeeze her, kiss her, snuggle her, and she don't fight back. She's not a fighter. I love you. Alright, get out of here. Go pester someone else now that you've got me completely covered in cat shit. So yeah, a reflection of my 20s. There's not really a whole lot to say about it. I mean, as you guys know from previous videos, I've always been somebody that's relatively mature. As a young dude in his 20s, I wasn't trying to stick my dick in everything and anything. So unlike most dudes, and I mean even women for that matter, so I didn't really do a whole lot in my 20s. My pivotal peak in my 20s was probably 2018, when I was really starting to get involved in the alternative scene and trying to really discover who I was as an adult, I guess. I was also a college student. I was trying to get into nursing at the time because I thought that was the path that I wanted to take, and then I ended up dropping all of it. I wasted almost 10 years of my life going through school only to find out that I didn't give a shit about any of it, especially since COVID had happened. There was so much weird stuff. Sorry, her cat hair is just getting all over my face and it's irritating me. When COVID had happened, there was so much weird crap that I didn't agree with that was going on. There was a lot of odd, crazy governmental control, forcing vaccines, and then you had politicians like de Blasio that were pretty much trying to literally bribe you by giving you a free hamburger meal if you were to get the vaccine.
We need everyone to get vaccinated. So we know we have to make it convenient, we know we have to make it easy, we know we need the opportunities for people to speak to their trusted community voices, doctors, etc. We're doing all that. But we also know that incentives help. They really do. And so we've been announcing free tickets, gift cards, all sorts of incentives. Did you say free fries when you get vaccinated? I got vaccinated. You're saying I could get this, these delicious fries, but there's also a burger element to this. I want you to look at this and think about, if this is appealing to you, just think of this when you think of vaccination.
All that shit rubbed me the wrong way, and to this day, I've never got the COVID vaccine. I, for one, had actually got COVID, and it hit me like a truck. After that, there was no point in even getting the vaccine, even though I didn't agree with the vaccine anyways. But yeah, all the weird governmental bribery that was going on to really get people on board with this vaccine was just the weirdest shit to me, and that's why I never took it. That smells fucking sus to me when you got your government literally trying to bribe you with money and food to get you to fucking put that shit in your body. That says a lot. But yeah, then when I moved out to Texas, they wanted me to take an additional 2 classes because I was an out-of-state student at the time. They wanted me to take a pharmaceutical class as well as another psychology class, even though back in California I was technically done with all my prerequisites to get into a nursing program. I was actually going to go to the nursing program that was at RCC, which is the Riverside Community College back there in Southern California. I probably would have maybe been accepted just because my grades were exceptionally well. The only grades that I could say that weren't that great was my chemistry. I got a C in, and what was the other one? Oh, my microbiology was a B. But my anatomy, the first part I got an A in, and then the second part of anatomy I got a B in. So, and let me tell you, that physiology shit, when it comes to anatomy, is some pretty tough shit. And I was glad that I at least got a B in that portion of it. Because back then that stuff kind of fascinated me, even though I didn't really want to get into nursing. But I digress with that. So yeah, that's why I pretty much stopped with the nursing shit. I found out that my true path is actually the automotive career, or automotive industry, even though the industry is technically dying, so I don't know how long I'm going to be in this for X amount of years, just because it does take a toll on your body. But you can kind of consider me the goth guy that's in the alternative scene that likes to work on cars, right? Which I know a lot of goth people don't really give a shit about the automotive field, and that's okay. But I'd like to include my car in this channel just because, you know, my Mustang is an extension of me, of my personality. It does have skeletons on it. It's got a skeleton horse on it. If that doesn't scream goth, I don't know what does. So that's why I like to showcase my car anytime that I can. For most of you goth people, you drive fucking like what, Priuses, like old ass Toyota Corollas and shit, because none of us have the money to afford like an actual decent ride. So I totally understand it. And then there's those of you that just don't really care. It gets you to point A to point B. Again, that's totally fine. Not everybody's a car person. I get it. But yeah, my 20s, it felt like I was really trying to find myself, especially going through a lot of it has to do with the move that I had when I was coming from California to Houston. I felt like that was a pretty big change in my life. Not so much necessarily the move, but I would say just the crap that was going on at home when I was living with my mom. That there was just a lot of just uneasiness, a lot of turmoil. Mentally, I was just not well living in that sort of household of hers. Once I finally got the job with Valvoline Instant Oil Change, that kind of opened up a little bit of a door for me in terms of what I wanted to do, and it allowed me to get at least a lot of money saved up to then open up other opportunities, because it was I would have stayed with that company if, you know, they didn't do the typical corporate crap and treating their people like shit and just looking at them as a number and just using them for profit. I probably would have still stuck around with that corporation just because I was moving up the corporate ladder, as they say, and I was making pretty decent money, but I left all that behind. Like, I'm not somebody that has to have a lot of money. Like, yeah, I don't own a house. I don't, like, for my 30s, I still don't own a house. And I don't know anybody in their 30s, especially in today's economy, that even owns a fucking house. Because as our boy Klaus Schwab had even mentioned in the World Economic Forum, he had even said, you will own nothing and you will be happy. And look at what's going on in our society today, whether it's Europe, America. Nobody owns anything. We live in these fucking little tent shacks and can't afford to fucking have a decent living. But yeah, I did manage to save a little bit of money from my previous employer, which did help me out a little bit, set up what I'm going to be now doing in my 30s. So I am grateful for my past employer for what little that is in terms of literally figuring my shit out. I guess that's all on me though. But me growing up in my 20s, I've always been financially responsible. I never spent on things that I can't afford, and I never put shit on a credit card that I know I shouldn't. That's the problem with a lot of our American society, is that we are a consumer-based society, and we absolutely love fucking buying shit that we don't need. I mean, look at the room around you. Even though I say those things, I have literally NECA figures all over the fucking place. I have all kinds of shit in that fucking coffin behind me. I am a consumer. We're all consumers. We like buying shit. We like fucking it. You know, if it relates to us, we fucking buy it, right? I mean, I like the horror and scary motif type of shit. I like buying shit that relates and pertains to me, though. I don't try to buy senseless shit like other Americans do. Like, everything that's in this room is an extension of me just as much as my car out there, right? All the scary, spoopy, stupid shit, like the VHS tapes, all the NECA figures that I have in here. Do I need it? No, probably not. Does it make me feel good to have these things and to have a livable environment? If it makes me happy and it at least makes me more sane, then yes, I'd say go ahead and buy and consume it if you can afford it in any way, right? I bought all this shit over the course of years, right? Like, this isn't like something I bought all at once. I've obviously had to make financial decisions on a lot of stuff, but I was also getting paid pretty well with my previous employer, like mentioned. My current employer that I'm working for right now, I'm not making nearly as much, but I'm still able to buy things that I want. It's all about how you work your money, so to speak, right? It might look like I'm financially stable, which I am now. I've always been somewhat financially stable. I do have credit card debt like anybody else does, but it's not nearly in the fucking hundreds of thousands. I have literally under 1,000 in credit card debt. The only thing I buy on it is literally groceries, food, and emergencies. That's literally all the credit card's there for. But yeah, the key to financial freedom is obviously not consuming shit that you shouldn't buy, especially in today's economy. We're not really living in a great economy. We all thought Trump was going to fucking fix our economy. That turned into nothing. And again, I don't vote either red or blue, as you guys know. I'm a fence sitter. I'm a proud fence sitter. I don't care. I don't care for the red versus blue shit. I'm leaps above that shit now. Like, I'm now in my 30s and I realize both parties are fucking stupid. It creates division. That's why we're in the fucking predicament that we are in now in 2025 and onward into the future. So that's why I don't fucking vote. I've never even voted once in my life. The only one that can save you financially is yourself. Obviously, if you don't have kids, it makes it that much easier. I'm obviously technically, even though I do have a relationship, I'm technically single, so I don't have a whole lot of finances. I don't have a car payment. I don't have a kid, and I only buy what I know I can afford. For example, I have the brake calipers and some of the brake hardware shit that I'm going to be doing on the Mustang here pretty soon. The only issue is I need new rims and I need new tires because 17-inch rims aren't going to fit those brake calipers. Am I going to buy new rims and new tires? Fuck no. Can I afford it? Fuck no. Am I going to put that crap on a firm? No. The smart thing to do is use up the rest of the tire life that I have on those Nittos out there and literally just wait until the tires get bald enough to where I can start then making the decision, saving up money now, make the decision to then buy new rims, new brand tires. I'm obviously not going to put some cheap Chinese tires on the Mustang. I'm going to want to buy something that's quality. You put all those modifications and all that work into a really shitty tire, like, it makes no sense. So it makes more sense to put another Nitto type tire on it, so that way it lasts a long time and it has the performance that I need still whenever I want to start doing more derbying and racing with it, because I'm actually setting the car up to be more of a corner carving type of car, not really drag. I don't really care for the drag scene much. I feel like the drag scene is just a little overdone now, especially in the younger crowd. But yeah, I've been pretty financially responsible in my 20s, which I'm absolutely thankful for. I will say life has not been the greatest for me, but I am very thankful that I somehow came out somewhat normal. And let me tell you, none of my parents showed me shit in terms of being an adult. I had to figure this shit out on my own. Nobody showed me anything. I think my mom tried to show me how to be an adult, but I'm just being real. I feel like she kind of failed a little bit with this. For example, you know, understanding mortgages, understanding interest, understanding all that bank crap lingo that gets you pretty much in debt. I never understood any of that shit. And I'm kind of glad maybe in a way that I didn't, because it kept me out of trouble in terms of getting a bunch of credit card debt. Yeah, my parents didn't really set me up to be an adult. I had to figure out all this shit on my own. It wasn't literally until I got the dealership job that I understood interest rates and all that crazy crap in terms of financing a car. So I had to become an adult by going through my 20s on my own. And I don't know if maybe that's just everybody in life. I didn't have anybody to hold my hand through shit. I just had to figure out everything. And so far, it's led me to at least become stable on my own. So there's that, I guess. The other thing that helped me get through my 20s is actually my girlfriend, Natasha. My woman, it's funny, I had a comment like maybe a couple weeks back how they're like, oh, it's so wrong that you call her your woman. And it's like, well, she is my woman. It's not like I'm using that in a derogatory term, right? She helped me a lot get through my 20s. I was going through a recent breakup. It's weird how we met, because we met on a chat program called IMVU. This was like a chat program that had been around for a long time in the early 2000s. There's a lot of them. You had Zwinky, you had IMVU, which was a major one that I used personally. I'm telling you, the early 2000s was the shit when it came to us late gen millennials. But anyways, so we met on IMVU. I was just so over my previous relationship with that woman that I was looking to just connect with somebody. And so I went into a chat room, met her, we had a pretty good conversation, how we met, and it come to find out, she literally had just broken up with her ex literally like a couple hours after mine. So it was a really weird scenario that everything just kind of fell into place. And the fact that she's a gun person, she's a car person too, we have very similar things that we also enjoy in life that we just kind of fit. But yeah, needless to say, I don't really use chat programs anymore. I don't use IMVU anymore. I'm now in my 30s. Hell, I was getting into my late 20s when I just decided to get rid of all that shit, because all anybody ever did in IMVU was just literally just chat room camp, and they were just always AFK. They were doing something else, like playing Call of Duty or some shit, and all of them and their friends would just sit in that room. And, you know, a 30-year-old playing in a chat room when it's just filled with a bunch of preteens now just kind of seems a little weird to me, so that's why I kind of got rid of it. Maybe one of these days I'll go back to it. I don't know. But yeah, going back on with my woman here. So as I was going through a really hard time in my life with my mom, she was always there for me, and she actually developed me into more of a man than I ever thought I was. So I have her to thank for that a lot. So I do thank you a lot, Natasha. Thank you so much for actually helping me develop into the man that I am today. You gave me a lot of courage where I didn't think I had it. Even though I still self-doubt myself every fucking day, I do love you, and thank you so much for that. Yeah, you want something that'll beat you down as a man? Literally go through the shit that I went through when I was coming out here in Houston. Like, not having any friends too to talk to. There have been many times me developing into my 20s where I just did not feel like I had any self-worth, at least as a man in any way. I mean, hell, I still don't really have a sense of direction and where I fit into all this and on this earth. I do struggle with severe depression. I've never been diagnosed, but I know that's got to be something that I have some underlying version of it in any way, because I do have these highs and lows where I literally wake up and I just want to sit in my bed and just keep sleeping. There have been other times where I just have zero energy to do anything. I'm not even going to lie to you guys. I'm going to be 100% transparent with you. A lot of the times, like, I feel like I have to force myself to get on camera to produce content, even though this is something I want to do as like an actual full-time career. The back of my mind keeps telling me like, just keep putting it up, do it tomorrow, go do it over here. It's just, it's very hard to get on camera, even though it's something that's super easy to do. But it's either that or trying to find something to do out in Houston. Like, I don't know what's around here, so like I just stay as a shut-in, like, because I don't know what to do. And if it wasn't for some of the friends that I have, you know, telling me to, you know, you want to go out and do something, then I would otherwise just be a shut-in all the time, which is probably why I look more youthful than I do. Personal opinion. But yeah, I have a lot of self-worth struggles, and I know a lot of men in this society have similar struggles, especially when the dating scene is just so fucking shitty or not really fitting into society. And then obviously I've talked about the sheer amount of trauma that I've been going through that has happened fairly recently, and it's continued to plague me since 2017 and current. Maybe not so much now that I'm actually finally away from it, but I definitely have some kind of traumatic shit that I've obviously endured from 2017 that's just kind of followed me and been something that's I've locked away in a closet. But that aside, I do have quite a few friends that I also managed to acquire over the course of these years, and you know, it's actually a handful that I can actually quite generally say that they're decent friends. So I do have Dylan, whom, if you guys want to follow him, totally up to you guys. He's actually he's starting to try to get into streaming now, so I will have a link to his YouTube channel, at least a little picture here. You guys can give him a follow. I actually met him in Cemetery Gates, funny enough. I met him alongside his mother when we were all going out clubbing back when it used to be called Cemetery Gates. I've kind of talked about this in my previous video about how I feel about the Goth scene in 2025, how there was a club called Cemetery Gates that is now formerly, well, that was formerly called Cemetery Gates, that is now called Club Dominion. Haven't been to Club Dominion, don't even know what the hell it's like now. Well, I could be lying about that. I think it was Club Dominion shortly before I left California. I don't know. They're always changing the name on it, or at least the venue in any way. But that guy, yeah, he's pretty chill, very relaxed kind of guy. He's a very down-to-earth type of person. You can't really ever piss him off. He's a really great friend. He actually backed me up when I was going through a defamation with some woman out in Riverside, which I talked about in another previous video within the Goth scene. Oh yeah, this guy had my back, and I greatly appreciate him for having my back with this type of moment. He actually wanted me to come out to Dallas, which, again, Dylan, I'm absolutely sorry that I couldn't go and visit you in Dallas. I truly wanted to. It's just I was going through a transitional period where I was going into a new job, and I didn't really quite have the money or the leverage to just tell my employer, like, hey, yeah, I know I just got this job, but I need to go to Dallas really quick. Is that cool? You know, I didn't have that leverage. I'm sorry, man. I'll make it up to you, though, one of these days. Maybe I'll fly out to California because I do have some unfinished business with my home father where I do need to give him a talk with all the shit that had happened since 2017. So one of these days I will come to California when the time is right and we will do something. And then I do have Mar. He's another great guy that I met. Actually, the next two people that I have in my life are actually from my previous employer with Valvoline. Great dudes. Mar's actually another one of those down-to-earth kind of guys. You need more people like that in your life when it comes to, especially someone like me that is just sees the negativity in everything in life. I think I really needed to be surrounded by more people that just have a very stoic way of looking at things, I guess. He's another kind of guy that I met from Valvoline. He recently was working at Bush International Airport over here, only to have them fire him for some bullshit, which I think I had actually talked about in another video about why all corporations suck, because we had a conversation about that. He ended up getting laid off, even though it was technically unjust. But I think it was part of his path to get fired, though. Like, everybody's on a life path, essentially. Even myself, I think even you guys are on a life path as well. Sometimes things have to get worse before they get better, kind of thing, right? He lost a well-paying job that paid him $30 an hour, and now he got back in with his old employer that he used to do jewelry with, and now he's a jeweler again, and he's enjoying it. He's gotten back into that. He's now closer to his kid, and he's able to travel. Right now, I think he's in Dallas right now, and he's doing jewelry stuff. So, and they pay him pretty good. Then I got Matt, whom I also met from my previous employer, who I just actually texted literally like a couple of days ago. He texted me seeing how I was doing. I told him I was doing good, long story short. And he's another one of those down-to-earth kind of guys that's just super chill. He's actually one of the funniest guys like I can really fuck around with. So I really enjoy Matt's company. He's another one of those down-to-earth kind of guys. Like, most of the people that I have around that surround me are like just down-to-earth type of people. Like, they're just super chill, very relaxed type of people that you can fuck around with and have a good time with, and they're super open, so you can fuck with them. I think edgy humor and all that kind of stuff, like, they're just totally laid-back people. That's the kind of people you want to be surrounded with, especially in today's day and age, because everybody's so fucking uptight in their own little echo chambers and fucking little bubbles and shit. And those are the type of people I don't want to be anywhere fucking close to, especially the alternative scene. A lot of those motherfuckers, like, they're so fucking pretentious and gatekeeping, dude. They're so fucking annoying. That's why I think I tell you guys a lot, especially those of you that are in the alternative scene, like, you know, you might find some genuine friends in the alternative scene, which I did find one, obviously. Dylan was one of them. But there's very few people in there that you're going to meet that are actually worth your time and worth your energy, for that matter. You have to find people out in the real world, you know. I think the alternative scene is just more of a fucking, like, show and tell, really. I'm probably going to get a lot of shit for saying that, but I'm just being real and speaking my mind here. When it comes to the dating scene, trying to find friends, trying to find people you relate to, I didn't find that in the alternative scene. I mean, it might be different for you, but I found that most of the people that I find closest to me, I met in the work environment. I mean, most people that find their significant other is usually going to be in the work environment, just because what do you do the most? You're always at work, right? So you don't have time for dating. So most people find their friends and their significant others usually in the job market. But yeah, I absolutely like Matt. He's a great guy. He's got a C5 Corvette. I can't remember if it's a C5 or a C4. Yeah, he's been fixing up an old Corvette of his. him and I actually talked and want to reminisce again, and are probably going to be seeing each other here pretty soon. Maybe I'll work on the vet, help him work on the vet. He can help me work on my Mustang when I get the brakes, the brake caliper situated and all that. So it would be a great time, have a few drinks, have a few laughs, you know, that kind of thing. The other thing is, too, is, you know, I just kind of briefly mentioned about how everybody's on a life path, right? So I've always been seeing this number since I was in high school, maybe shortly after middle school. I don't know how much you guys believe in angel numbers. I'm not a very religious type of guy, but it is very strange that I always see the number 737. So if you guys don't know what angel numbers are, they're essentially like a guardian angel that are telling you, like, hey, like, you're doing good, keep up what you're doing, you are meant to be on this path, kind of thing, right? So, like, for example, 737, my angel number, is apparently saying pretty much that, like, hey, everything's good, everything what you're doing is meant to happen, you're on the right path, like, don't be discouraged, things are gonna look up, kind of thing, right? And to some degree, I would say, you know, now that I'm in my 30s, I feel like I am getting a little bit more comfortable and not so much in the mental turmoil that I used to be in when I was in my 20s. I do feel like as soon as I almost turned 30, like, a shift is starting to happen, especially now since I've been doing YouTube. I do kind of generally feel like a big weight has kind of been lifted off my chest. I've kind of become more independent. But yeah, with the 737 stuff, I would literally see it on TVs. I would see it on my phone. It would be just a random moment when I open up my phone and it'll say 7:37 as the clock, and I wasn't even paying attention to the clock. There have been many times I'll see 7:37 out and about. It is a really weird occurrence where I constantly see this number every now and again, at least once to almost at least 3 to 4 times out of the month. I don't know if that's just a coincidence, but it is really weird that I do see that number a lot very commonly. And I don't let things bother me as much as I used to, because for a while I was having external things really just bug the shit out of me. The way people act towards each other, it still to some degree still bothers me, but like how society is as a whole. I mean, if you just even watch some of my previous videos, I was really just venting so much shit that I had on my chest, how I hate how society is becoming. I hate how people aren't civil anymore, even though it sounds like a Joker quote. I just don't like the way that we're heading as a society, especially with the age of social media, technologies. Like, we're just not a very communicable type of society anymore. We sit behind a fucking computer, exhibit A, as I'm talking to you, right? And then the sheer amount of cruelty there is on this earth. I mean, shit, like people throwing babies in the garbage, throwing literal kittens, cats in the fucking garbage, dogs. Like, how could somebody be so fucking cruel? I can never wrap my head around how somebody could be so twisted and weird like that. Or, you know, I can't say some of the other words, but we'll say the P word, right? There's people out there that we'll say are a little out there, right? Yeah, I don't understand where we're going at as a society, and it just seems like we're collapsing more and more. Again, that's just human nature, I guess, and I've learned to just not give a fuck anymore. I've learned to not give a shit. Mind you, those things obviously still bother me, but I'm not going to let it dictate like my life and who I am as a person, right? There comes a time when you gotta be a man. Sorry, Shaun of the Dead quote. I keep doing that. Favorite zombie movie anyway. But yeah, if you keep letting that type of shit bother you and consume you, it will degrade your mental health. And for those of you that are like me or were like me that are dealing with that shit, I'm going to tell you right now, you got to knock that shit off. You got to learn to not give a fuck. Focus on yourself, literally do you, and that is the best type of advice I can give you. Don't let other people dictate what you can and can't do. I almost had people try doing that shit for me, and it literally changed me and changed my direction of who I was as a person. I mean, hell, you even got people that are in relationships that are changing the other person and their identity. I mean, you got people that get into relationships where the opposite person, opposite sex or whatever, literally will try to change you as a person, and that's what my previous relationship was trying to do. She literally, we got in an argument, and she's like, "Are you sure you're not the narcissist?" And right there, I was like, whoa. So now you're attacking my character, you're attacking who I am as a person. No, I'm far beyond from a narcissist. I couldn't be anywhere further from being a narcissist. I'm not somebody that's full of themselves. I can't be asked to even be around people or care to have this high ego about myself. The fact that I have so much self-esteem issues in general, it shows that I can't be a narcissist. We had so many other arguments that got to the point that I just curbed her. As soon as she said that, it rose a really big red flag to me. Now that I'm in my 30s, like when it comes to the dating shit, like I don't take shit anymore. Like usually I'll literally spill out a little bit of my baggage to just see how they react. And that's why I've become more resilient now that I'm in my 30s, that I just don't take shit anymore. If you can't handle me at my worst, then how are you going to handle me at my best? That's the way that I see it in any way. I want to see how you react if I just kind of give you a little bit about, you know, who I am as a person, right? And where I come from. And most of the time that scares the fuck out of people. And that's good, because that means I dodged a bullet. I'm not saying you should show all your red flags all on to one person, because yeah, most people are just going to get scared and run. But what I'm trying to say is, like, if this person isn't willing to listen to you and give you their time, then what's the fucking point at all, right? So a lot of the times when I was talking to a lot of these chicks and clubs and shit, and I mentioned this in my previous video, you know, I like to kind of little out a little bit about myself that's a little personal, probably just to see how they react to it. And 9 times out of 10, yeah, they don't want anything of it. They don't want anything to do with it, and they literally just run. They like the idea of you. They don't want any of the shit that's involved with you, though, if that makes sense. They want this like Prince Charming version of you, as if you can do no wrong and you have no type of trauma that lives and exists within you. But yeah, I was really scared to fuck around and find out with like chicks, because I didn't want to get someone pregnant and then literally fuck up my life for the next 20 years. Which is probably why I haven't had a whole lot of sexual experiences in my life too, just being personal, open, transparent, and honest. I've literally only had sex with 2 different bodies. There have been many opportunities that I could have had sex with multiple other women, and I chose not to, because my brain said yes and my dick said no. And I'm very thankful that that's just who I am as a person. I don't offer myself to just anyone. I would personally like to have an actual great experience with somebody in the bedroom, rather than just keep going with one night stands, which again, I've kind of talked about this a little bit within my goth scene video, right, with the whole sexuality within the scene. But this is just leaving the goth shit out of it. Just anybody and everyone. Like, I don't just give myself to anybody. I'm kind of a woman in that regard. Like, most men aren't like me. They don't just think about themselves, you know. They just kind of want to go get a quick nut and run. I don't know how the hell I developed myself into being that kind of person, but I guess I have that level of nut retention within me that I don't want to just go and spill my seed with every fucking woman on this planet. So again, I'm very thankful that I have some kind of self-respect, I guess. And it feels like the closer I get to my 30s, the more my biological clock's starting to tick in terms of having children. I'll give you a quick story of why I feel that way. The coworker that I work with, he's a pretty cool dude. He's got his own family. He actually has a little boy that's like 4 years old. Or, sorry, 3 years old, going on 4 in August. And I hung out with him and his kid a couple of times with this chick. And the kid is so fucking cool. Let me tell you. Like, he's like how I was as a kid. And so when I see him, I look at a little bit of myself and my childhood in him. He's just playing with his Hot Wheels. The funniest shit that happened, we were in a restaurant. We were actually celebrating his birthday, actually. Not the child's birthday, but his dad's birthday. And I was watching him, just observing him and what he was doing. And he literally takes a piece of food and puts it in the back of the pickup on his Hot Wheel. I thought that was the funniest shit, bro. I was just dying just watching this kid just being fucking a kid. It was just the funniest shit, just watching the shit that he was doing and just observing him. Kids are fucking cool. I don't know. Like, I've always just wanted to be a dad now. I guess be the dad that my dad never was for me. I mean, my father himself was never really there for me. I think he really tried. I can't say like he was a terrible father. I think he really tried. He just didn't know how to be. So he was like your typical father that would just kind of buy a bunch of stuff to earn your love kind of thing. You know, take you out to Six Flags type of thing. And that was kind of the only way we knew how to bond. But he never really found much interest in the things that I had an interest in, like basically the cars, like Mustangs and shit like that. He just wasn't a car person, but at least he never really tried to be involved in my life, I guess. Even though I tried to be involved in his, I actually thought I wanted to play guitar, and for a very split second I tried to play bass and then dropped it because my dad didn't really reinforce that with me, so I kind of didn't care to play an instrument anymore. But yeah, this kid, he's just an absolutely fucking cool kid. Like, it's so much so that I wish I had my own little boy. Like, because then I would actually show him how to work on cars and do all kinds of cool shit, get him into the goth scene, get him into dark wave early, all the 80s shit, and just set him up to be, you know, a really decent human being. That's something that I feel like I really want to do in my life as a goal and as an achievement, but I don't know if I'm ever going to eventually get to that point, hopefully. And then there was just a wild hair up my ass. You know, I went through all the Hot Wheels that I had to see if I had any duplicates that I can give away to this kid, because I had so much respect for his kid that I literally just wanted to, you know, show my support for him and his kid. And I gave him, like, God, I gave him like at least like almost 10 Hot Wheels and shit. So, and my coworker, I asked him, I was like, so how did your little boy think about the Hot Wheels I gave him? And he was like, oh, dude, he was so fucking excited. As soon as I woke him up, he was like, oh my God, Hot Wheels. And I was, dude, that shit just melted my heart, dude. That shit's so fucking cool, honestly. So yeah, I have a biological clock going on right now. I really do, now that I'm in my 30s, I really do want to start a family in some way, shape, or form. It sucks that to start a family, especially in today's society, but, you know, the best that you can do is just create the best version of yourself that you never had within your own father. If I'm a male, you know, try to create a father figure that I never had. And I think that's something that I strive to do as a goal of mine in my life in any way. But yeah, my 20s was very boring. I really didn't do a whole lot in my 20s. I'm just being absolutely real with you. I was mainly a shut-in for the most part. I didn't really do a whole lot in my 20s. Do I regret it? No, not really. I think the person that I'm meant to be is actually starting here and now in my 30s. I kind of want to consider myself more of a stoic type of person, or looking at things from a stoic output, I guess. That doesn't make me better than anybody else, but I do kind of have that sort of mindset, and I think a lot of other people are starting to develop themselves into that same type of mentality. Some people would argue that's like the fucking, oh, you're a Sigma male type of shit. I'm like, dude, that shit's so cringe. Please stop. Or the alpha man type of shit. Like, I don't care for any of that shit. Call me whatever you want to call me, you know, but I just feel like I have a higher level of critical thinking than most people on this earth, and I guess I'm just thankful for that. Again, by any means, I'm not saying I'm better than anybody else. I'm just saying, like, I can just see things for what they really are, and I'm really glad that I had that level of insight that I don't feel like I had nearly as much in my early 20s as I do now. From my late 20s to now early 30s, I've now developed that, and it's all just a learning experience, right? We obviously are on Earth to learn and adapt, I guess, to the sheer amount of bullshit that continuously throws at us here in life. I mean, I don't even have any investments, no 401k. I'm literally living life one day at a time. Because at the end of the day, I could die of fucking cancer tomorrow, get nuked, get killed in a fiery car accident for all I know. So I'm one of those people that literally just lives today for tomorrow. I'm fucking adulting and I have no idea what the fuck I'm doing. But then again, do any of us know how to? But yes, ladies and gentlemen, this is becoming a very lengthy video. I think that's gonna do it for now. As a very brief summary, yeah, I didn't really do a whole lot in my 20s. My 20s have been very boring, but now that I'm doing YouTube, hopefully my 30s are going to be an absolutely extraordinary experience, because I'm hoping that YouTube will actually open more doors for me and more opportunities, and I'm already starting to kind of see it pay off a little bit, especially garnering some of the relationships that I now have with some of you guys. You know, you guys have been offering me some goth rock artists, which I have listened. I think the one guy had just given me an artist, Unto Others. I listened to them. They kind of remind me a little bit of the Cult. A little bit, not too much, but a little bit. So, you know, that's all I've ever wanted, was to grow a fucking community here on YouTube and, you know, open other opportunities for me. And this platform obviously gives me that kind of freedom, because at the end of the day, if you guys want to get out of the whole 9-to-5 thing, I think YouTube is definitely the platform to do it. You know, garner your financial freedom through media. As much as I give a lot of shit with social media, media platforms in general, I believe YouTube is definitely the out for most people. I'm going to try my best to make this out of something, but I'm hoping that this platform is what's going to set me up for the years to come if I stay consistent with it. I like to be creative. I like having a creative platform that allows me to do that, and YouTube has always been one of those platforms that you can do that. Maybe not so much as it used to be back in the day, but for what I want to do, like voice acting and things like that, and just showing a little bit of my personality out there, this platform does just that for me. So yeah, guys, if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, or maybe a little bit about your life experiences in your early 20s, if some of you that are watching that are a little bit some later millennials out there, do let me know. Or even if some of you guys are Gen Z. I don't know if there is a little bit of the younger crowd watching me as well, how it is going through your early 20s, because I'm telling you right now, there wasn't a whole lot for me, and I don't know if there's a whole lot for you, especially in this day and age. But I'm always curious to hear what a different generation's outlook is on it, because your experiences are going to be different from mine. If you guys liked the video, thought it was informative, please like, share, and subscribe. It helps me out a lot to get in that algorithm. You guys have a fantastic day, and I will see you in the next video. Peace out.